Let's talk about rewards for a minute and make sure we have them. Just because you think it's rewarding to the dog doesn't mean they think it's a reward. The only way we can know if the dog thinks what we're doing is a reward is if the behavior is more likely to occur. If the behavior doesn't become more likely to occur, then we don't have a reward. With my two dogs, Angus doesn't really care about food, and I have to use those big gun perishable food, cheese, steak, things like that for pretty much anything if I want to use food as a reward for him. But clapping and praise and a good scratch on the chin is very rewarding for him. So I can actually use those instead of food for him, and he's more likely to give me behavior. With Gracie, pretty much anything, I say that like this because here she is. With Gracie, pretty much anything is a reward. I can use kibble even out in public, but most dogs that wouldn't work. How do I know it's a reward? I know it's a reward because if I give a couple, she's very in tune, turning to me, looking for the next thing. If I ask for behavior, it happens right away, and they continue happening, and they're more likely to happen. So if it doesn't make the behavior more likely to happen, you don't have a reward. You can use toys, you can use food, you can use praise, you can use petting. Anything can be a reward, but that's not up to you. That's up to the dog, and that's a really hard thing to remember. Let's try it. So right now on my counter, I have a bunch of different things. I have carrots, I have her regular dry kibble, I have a cookie broken into pieces, I have some store-bought treats, and then I have some cheese. We're gonna do an eye contact game with Gracie, and we're gonna know it's a treat for her if she whips right back and gives that next repetition. If she doesn't, if she kind of sniffs, she wanders off, then we know it's not a treat. I'm assuming here in my living room, all of these are going to be rewards for Gracie. And even for her out in the yard, out in the driveway, down at the street, they're probably all going to be rewards. The only time they might not be if there's a bunch of action happening and she wants to be involved in that action, then probably I would have to be up into the cheese or the store-bought treats. But for most everything else around the house, you'll see that's going to work for her. And then we'll take a look at Angus, and we'll see what you think. Yes. So you can see the carrots are working as a treat, because as soon as she's done chewing, she's looking right back at me for the next repetition. So we know the carrots work for her. What about the kibble? Yeah, so she's exact same thing, maybe a little quicker because it doesn't take quite as long to chew. So let's try the dry cookie. Yep, that's a reward. You can see as soon as she's done chewing, she's looking at me for the next thing. You can see I'm also not asking for a behavior. I'm just checking, can she check in with me? That's all the criteria I'm looking for. Yes. So the store-bought treat obviously works. And what about cheese? Nice. So for Gracie, all of those things are treats. Let's get Angus and let's see what he says. We have Angus with us now, and let's see what he says. We're going to try the carrot. He says, no, I'm not even going to eat that. Okay, so we know that won't work. Let's try the kibble. Will you eat that? Nope, he says that's not going to work, lady. How about a dry biscuit? Probably not a reward there either. There's some store-bought treats. He says, oh, okay, I'll eat that. See, he perked up. He looked back at me. Waiting for the next one. So that is, it's a reward. He's not too keen on it, but he will take it and look for the next rep. Let's try with the cheese. You can hear Gracie protesting that it's not her turn in the background. So for Angus, the cheese and the store-bought treats would probably work. He wasn't really excited about any of them, so if there was much more distraction going on, I might not be able to use them. I might actually have to get to steak, or I might have to do one of the games he likes instead. But that'll give you a good baseline to, do you have a reward? Does your dog think it's actual payment? So think about this kind of like work. Would you do it for half the money you make? Would you do it for a quarter of the money? How much do you have to be paid to do the thing you're being paid to do? The harder the thing, the more money, the higher value the treat is going to need to be. So let's try that out at home and see what we get.